All right, let's get started with our Khan Academy unit test for trigonometric equations and identities under the course trigonometry. For the first question, a street sweeper, a truck that uses round and straight brooms to clean trash off the street, has a gap where the broom bristles need replace. Okay, need replaced. So it leaves part of the street dirty. The function gt models the distance in centimeter between the gap and the curve t seconds after the sweeper begins moving parallel to the curve. This is the function. What is the solution set for this thing represent now? Here we don't see any t, so this is only one value. So the option that says it is the set of numbers, um, like if it describes us or indicates to a value more than one, then this is not true. This is only for one value, and if you observe, they have just plugged in t equals to zero point 0.7. So t times after the sweeper begins, this is the value for distance. So the number of times per minute, no. The set of numbers, mean no. The first, no. The distance between the gap and the after 0 point, exactly. This is what we're looking for. Antonio's toy boat is bobbing, in the water under a dock. The vertical distance h in centimeter between the dock and the top of the boat's mast t seconds after its first peak is modeled by the following function here t is entered in radians. How long does it take the toy boat to bob down from its peak to a height? Okay, so height of negative 35. Let's see. So we want a height of negative 35, right? So there mentioned how long does it take to for Bob from its peak to a height of negative 5. Okay. So this is the peak, and from a height of negative 5, how much time does it take? Nearest tenth of a second, so which is 0 0.7. The following are all angle measures in radians rounded to the nearest 100 whose sine is okay, sine is positive, and we know that that happens in the first and second quadrant. What is the principal value? And if you observe the sine graph, it is something like this. And we know that the inverse function is defined for its radians, so negative pi by 2 to pi by 2. So pi by 2 is basically pi by 2 is basically 1.57. So any value greater than negative 1 greater than the magnitude of 1.7 would be crossed out. This is crossed out, this is crossed out, and this is crossed out as well. So we're left with b. This is our answer. Consider the following equation. Find the exact value of the expression with using a calculator. Okay, fine. Here, if you observe one thing, that this is the same angle as this. So we write this as A. And this is the same angle as this, B. We can write this as B. And sine, cos, sine. This is the addition rule or subtraction rule for sine. Sine A subtract B equals sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. This is what exactly this pattern follows. Sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. And we know that this entire thing can be replaced with this identity, which is sine A minus B, or 9 by 8 pi minus pi by 8. So we have to calculate 9 by 8 pi, 9 by 8 pi minus pi by 8, or 1 by 8 minus 1 by 8. So that is 1, or just pi, sine pi, because 9 by 8 minus 1 by 8 is just 1, or just pi. Okay, 3 point pi. Now sine pi, which means sine 180. So when sine is 180, it's 0. So our answer is also 0. Select one or more expressions that together represent all the solutions to the equation. Your answer should be in radians. Okay, fine. So we have to make this one as subject, cos 10x. So 18 cos 10x equals to 8 because subtract both sides from 2 of 2, so minus 2 plus 2 gone, 8. So we are left with cos 10x equals 8 by 18. 8 by 18. So cos inverse of 8 by 18 in radians is 1.1 this thing. Now we have 10x equals to this. 10x equals to this. And we'll have to divide this with 10 for getting the first one, which is this thing. Now in sine, in cos, we know that cos theta plus 2 pi equals cos theta. So which means this thing that I've gotten here, positive of 0.111, we'll have to just um, positive 2 pi n times 2 pi n divided by 10 because there is a 10. So it's 1 upon 5. 1 upon 5 here. So C is our answer, one of the answers that matches with this. Now we have another formula which is cos, or identity cos negative theta equals to cos theta. If you want to use this, so which means that we have cos negative theta is the same as, which means uh, yeah, so we have a value of positive so here's our answer. uh, so we will get this one as negative of this thing, negative 0.111, and then we have to plus the 2 pi for getting each of them. Yeah, so it's the same as B, just the negative one, okay, negative version of, no, sorry, not this one, A, exactly. So this should be our answer. Yeah. Okay, so consider the following. Find the exact value of the expression without using a calculator. Fine. Now we have to observe that this is A, this is also A, and this is B, this is B. So sine cos, cos sine. Again, we have sine A plus B, sorry, not A minus B. Sine A, okay, sine A minus B equals to sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. So we have sine A cos B minus cos A sine B. So this is the same as sine pi by 6 minus 5 by 12 pi. So you have to find 1 by 6 minus 5 by 12. So it is negative 1 by 4. Negative 1 by 4 pi. Okay. So sine 1 by 6 minus 5 by 12 is negative 1 by 4 pi. So you have to find sine of negative pi by 4. Now negative pi by 4, pi by 4 is basically 45. So negative 45 means fourth quadrant, this thing, which is the same as negative sine 45. So sine 45 has, has a value of 1 upon root 2, and if you rationalize that, this become this option C. Okay, so mt, or m is a function, models the distance in millions of kilometers from Mars to Sun's T days after it is at its furthest point. What does the solution set for this thing represent? Okay, it represents that, it's the same function as this, except for you just replace mt with 240, which means that it is a time, a day, t days after its furthest point, for which the distance between Mars and Sun is 240. The distance in millions of kilometers that Mars, it doesn't know. the least number of days after when Mars is exactly, this is the least number of days. Or no, because it is t for cos, it has all, it is set of all numbers of days after when Mars is at its furthest point, when it is 240 exactly. This is the answer. Okay, Lina is playing her accordion or accordion by compressing and stretching at the accordion's length. T seconds after it's completely stretched is modeled by this thing. T is in radian. Okay, how long does it take Lina to compress the accordion completely and then stretch back to it to out to a length of 50? Okay, fine. So you want y equals to 50. Where is the graph? Okay, so you have to notice, what did the question say? The question stated that how long does it take to compress the completely. So, and our distance starts after, it's completely stretched. So from bottom up until this point you must go. So completely compressed and then back out to a length of 50. So which means starting from here, this is the time that I want, and they have asked us to there is tenth of a second, which means 1.3. Select one or more expressions that together represent all solutions to the equation. Your answer should be in degrees. Okay, fine. So I can rewrite this as sine 3x equals to 6, because minus 1, we're subtracting minus 1, so this gets cancelled. 6 by 6, it's 1. So basically sine 3x equals to 1. And sine inverse 1 is 180, or pi. Sine inverse 1. Sorry, what's wrong? 6 by 6, yeah. Sine inverse is the same as pi by 2. Okay, 90 degree. Sine inverse. Oh, okay, we want our answers in degrees. It doesn't matter. This is pi by 2 into 180 by pi. It's 90. Yeah, sine 90. So, yeah, sine 90 is 1. So, which means that we have a we have sine theta plus 2 pi equals sine theta. So which means that 90 plus 2 pi divided by 3, and the n, of course. So 90 divided is 30 plus okay, 2 pi. We are dealing with degrees, so it's 360. 360 divided by 3 is 120. So 120. So 30 plus n times 120 exactly. So this is the answer that I was looking for, but that is not the only one, because we also have the identity sign, theta minus pi, sorry, pi minus theta, or 180 minus theta, because it is degrees. So if that is the case, then 3x would equals to 180 minus, what is our theta? It's 90. So 180 minus 90 is the same thing, 90. So that means, yeah, this is sufficient. The following are all angle measures in degrees rounded to the nearest and whose sign is negative. Okay, again, our principal value is defined for negative sign, because this is the function of sine is defined for negative 90 to positive 90. So any value that is beyond this range will get cancelled. So all of them are cancelled. This is the value that we're looking for, and that is the end for our unit test.